My job is to give you just a bit of insight into TEQ at a glance and where our strategy and our updates are. And we do have the executive team, and we are so excited that our international directors are here with you today. They've travelled from all over the world to share their insights and intel with you so that you can use as much of it in your businesses as possible. This time last year, I was talking with all of you and consulting with you and really trying to get your guidance on where we go, and as a result the strategy was delivered late last year, and we have realigned, restructured, and we do have a new executive team now all on board, which you're going to hear a little bit more from a little bit later. We've got a strategy that is in action, and we'll give you an update on where we're at with that strategy 6 months in, and we are also going to give you some insight on that Team Queensland approach, which is about working with all of you to achieve that ambitious goal of $44 billion by 2032. So there certainly has been a lot of change at Tourism and Events Queensland, but our focus and our energy remains high, and I know I can feel it in the room with all of you, and I know the energy in our team is at absolute peak at the moment. And we do have a panel session where you're going to get to meet your new executive team for the first time as one. And I do want to acknowledge the Richard Clark, who is joining us. This is day one for Richard. He's flown over from Auckland as our new events executive, and we're putting him on stage, so go easy on him. But I do want to acknowledge we've chosen people with some great industry background. Ollie is a beautiful story of someone that started in TEQ straight after uni and has now returned as a group executive. A long history across a number of sectors, and really pleased Gert Jan didn't kill me for stealing him from Brisbane Airport. So it's so great to have you with us, Ollie. Kim McConney has got a really long and distinguished career, over 25 years in marketing across the world. She did oversee the Super Bowl halftime series, has worked with the likes of Beyonce and Katy Perry, but today she's working with all of you, and I know that's going to be her highlight. It's also great to have Richard joining us. He is a Kiwi, but he's a Queenslander today, and we are adopting him, but a huge background in sports, events, entertainment, and business events. So you'll get to hear from him and get to know a little bit about him as well. And I do want to acknowledge Nick Elliott, who is in the room. He's the spine and foundation of the business and keeps us all on track. So I do want to acknowledge Nick for keeping us stable and moving forward. So we do have a 5-point plan. I'm not going to go into heaps of detail around this because you all know about our 5-point plan. We've got some pretty bold goals and loving the new campaign, and Cal. But you know, bravery does favour the bold, and I think for us, ambitious targets are always great, but it's important that we execute upon those. And I think you'll see from the numbers that we show you later today, Queensland is on track, but we certainly cannot rest on our laurels and take that for granted. We've got a lot of hard work ahead. We're still sitting at number one from a domestic holiday share. We are growing our international market, albeit though we are still a little behind pre-COVID, which we'll touch on a little later. Our global events calendar has never been more important than before, and reaching that $2 billion. We've grown from $750 million to $850 million over the past 18 months, so there's a great story there, but certainly a lot of work ahead. And importantly, our destinations, our partners, and all of our industry has never been more important than ever before, and it's all about setting us up for the 2032 Games as well, which is going to be an important part of the Queensland story. So we have to celebrate what we have achieved. It's only been 6 months, but the new structure's in. We're still the number one holiday state. We're loving the big and the bold theme. That's not just resonating here in Brisbane, it's across the state, and loving the activities and ambitions that all of our Queensland industry has at the moment. The Team Queensland approach is certainly, we're living and dying by that spirit at the moment. We said to you we wanted to travel internationally. Last year, all of our international missions were oversubscribed, and I was so pleased to be in New Zealand just last week with all of you. Over 44 operators attending that, the largest ever delegation to New Zealand as a state. So we're super proud to be with you, and we love that you're travelling with us, and we hope that continues this year. We're working more than ever closer with our government departments, Trade and Invest Queensland, the department, DPC. We are trying to leverage our relationships across the whole of government to ensure that we're supporting your ambitions, and we're loving our airport relationships as well. And I acknowledge they're all here in the room today, and we have a huge session on Friday on how we leverage the ambitions of our airports, especially internationally, and it's so great to be working closely with you. So the events calendar is also growing, and you're going to hear about that a little bit today. So great to secure Pink in Townsville, and I know we've got the crew from Townsville up here. It's so great to have Bluey's World in Brisbane. Bluey is like the #1 brand at the moment internationally, so there's something really special about. We've got events like the Mount Isa Rodeo we've locked in for 3 years. I know we've got Sunny Coast here. Ironman is also locked in. And we've got the Magic Millions, the actors on the Gold Coast, Russell Crowe, Kate Blanchett and Margot Robbie coming home to be ambassadors, not just for that event, but for this state. We're seriously working hard with all of you on this events calendar, and it's so great to see some wins. Right here in Brisbane, we love the Ring Cycle. Beauty and the Beast, if anyone hasn't seen it, it's on now, just don't leave our session for it. But there's some beautiful productions, and we've also got some big wins in sport like the Australian PGA. So lots is happening in the event space, but again, we need to do more if we're going to hit our targets, and that's what we're here to talk to you about today. So lots of exciting things, but I know in talking with all of you, you also need to know that things are not always going to be easy, and they certainly aren't going to be in the next 12 months. So we are starting to see some insights, and our market directors will give you a little more detail around some of this, but the reality is domestic travel is stabilising and it's normalising, and that means we're seeing softening metrics across the state. So something that we're conscious of, and I know Kim's update in regards to marketing brand will touch on how we plan to try and work with you to address that. Cost of living is a serious pressure we are all dealing with at the moment. It's changing consumer behaviour, it's changing travellers' behaviours. So we're seeing shorter lead times for booking, and we're seeing people change what they're actually spending on. They're not giving up the holiday at the moment, so the kids might go without a feed for a night, but they're going on that holiday. But I think at the same time, the reality of that is that we need to be conscious that people aren't going to be spending as much. Our international markets are positive, but the numbers to the 44 billion did show that China was going to come back really strongly in this immediate period, and the reality is China isn't coming back as strong immediately. We're confident it will, but it means that every year that we don't hit those China travel targets, it means we have to look at how our international marketing strategy continues and evolves, and that's where markets like New Zealand, which is such a strong and easy market for us, is really an opportunity, but also growth in emerging markets like India. I was in India at the end of last year. They aspire for what Australia has in terms of travel. They love the offerings that we have, and I think this is a really important market, especially when it comes to business events and incentives. So you're going to hear about that today. And then we also know we've got some capacity constraints. We know we need a lot more aviation and a lot more hotel rooms if we get that 44 billion. But I think it's also great to celebrate that we got some big announcements and some big infrastructure opening like Queen's Wharf, and I know the Star are in the room today as well. We're super excited about that opening, and we know it's going to change the face of Brisbane. So the aviation landscape, which I'll finish on, is looking good, but we still have some way to go. So we're about 90% recovered overall, but super happy with how the Aviation Attraction Fund is performing. So we funded about 29 routes. There are 2 million inbound seats as a result, putting in over 1.8 billion into the economy, and really great to see some momentum, which for some markets wasn't there even pre-COVID. If I take North America, for example, by the end of the year, we will have more capacity into North America than we had pre-COVID. So we now have United, we will have Delta, we've got Air Canada, And we've got a number of other services, which is very much coming to fruition over the next few months. So for us, we're looking at, if we've got the capacity here, how do we leverage this market, but importantly, how do we also disperse them throughout the state? Across Asia, we've seen new routes also being secured, in particular for Brisbane. So Jetstar commencing services from Osaka and Seoul. We've seen the return of Korean Airlines from Seoul, Qantas services from Tokyo. We've got China Eastern and China Southern who are so committed to growing this market. And we've got services not just into the south, but into the north as well. We've also got hubs through Dubai, and Singapore Airlines is really flexing their muscles as a key aviation partner and really providing that connectivity to the UK and Europe. And it's also great to see some new routes such as Vietjet, which is a really surprise strong performer for us into Ho Chi Minh City. And it's also great to see Philippine Airlines return with services into Manila, which means I've got no excuse not to visit my family over there. So I think for us, the aviation landscape is exciting, but I think an important stat to acknowledge is that our international visitors, one international visitor will spend 74% more than a domestic traveller. So the international market for Queensland moving forward is so critical and so important, and using our gateways to get them in is a priority for us, which you'll hear from today. So in light of that, I know and I want to acknowledge that we've had a challenging start to the year. There's certainly no doubt about that, but it has been a tough time, but I do think we have been able to move and be agile with our partners to try and help the region recover where we could. I do acknowledge travelling with the Minister through that period, working with the likes of TEQ, with BETA, with TEL, and with EGC, we've been able to mobilise a number of recovery campaigns to support our industry at a time that they needed. Certainly doesn't make up for what was lost, but it's a show of support and a real sign that we're going to be there to help as best we can through these tough times. We've come out of January into February with a lot of excitement, and it's so great to be here with you all to share our mission. You're going to hear from our executive and learn a bit more about them, but after afternoon tea, you're going to hear about those market insights into the international space, and I know that is something you're all here and you'll find exceptionally valuable. I'm going to finish on a final note. It is International Women's Day on Friday, and as an industry that is made up of predominantly females, TEQ is really proud to celebrate International Women's Day with you all. I know there's a number of celebrations across the state. At TEQ, we're proud to have 4 leading women in Sarah Kelly, Nancy Bamaga, Kylie Blucher and Brenda Laporte as our leaders in this space. We're so proud that we were able to appoint our first ever group executive marketing. That was permanently appointment in Kim McConaughey, that is a female. And really pleased that our RTOs are in the room. There are 10 chairs and CEOs in that network that are also women and female, and we're very excited as an industry. You know, we know we've got a long way to go, but we're trying to make the step change in that space as well. So have an awesome afternoon. Look forward to networking, and we're really positive about the year ahead. Thank you.